In the ancient land of Uz, a vast and sun-scorched expanse, there lived a man named Job. He was not a king or a conqueror, but his greatness was known throughout the East. His character was his crown. He was blameless and upright, a man who feared God with a reverent heart and deliberately turned away from evil. His life was a portrait of divine blessing. His pastures were filled with 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels moved like a slow river across his lands. 1,000 oxen plowed his fertile fields, and 500 donkeys served his household. But his true joy was his family, 7 sons and 3 daughters, who filled his home with life and laughter. Job's piety was not just for show, for he thought, "Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." This was his regular practice, a quiet testament to his devotion. One day, in the celestial court, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord. Among them, a shadow moved with purpose. It was Satan, the accuser. The Lord's voice filled the expanse. "From where have you come?" Satan, with a cynical air, replied, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it." Then the Lord said, a note of pride in his voice, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him, a man blameless and upright, who fears God and shuns evil." Satan's lips curled into a sneer. "Is it not because you have built a fortress around him? You have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds spread throughout the land. But now, stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and I guarantee he will curse you to your very face." And the Lord, in his sovereign wisdom, said to Satan, "Very well, then. Everything he has is in your power." With a look of triumphant malice, Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Job's children were feasting at their eldest brother's house. Job was at his home when a breathless messenger stumbled before him, his face ashen. The oxen were plowing and the donkeys grazing. He gasped, and the Sabaeans attacked. "They have taken the animals and killed the servants. I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." Before the words had fully left his mouth, another man ran in. "The fire of God fell from the heavens," he cried. "It burned up the sheep and the servants. I am the only one who has escaped." While he was still speaking, a third arrived, his voice trembling. The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on the camels. "They have carried them off and killed the servants. I am the only one who has escaped." Job stood, his body growing more rigid with each blow. Then came the 4th messenger. His face was a mask of such horror that no words were needed. He finally stammered, "Your sons and daughters, they were feasting when a mighty wind swept in from the desert. The house collapsed on them. They are all dead. I am the only one who has escaped." At this, the last pillar of Job's world crumbled. He rose to his feet, a vessel of pure shock. With a single, violent motion, he tore his robe. He took a blade and shaved his head, the locks of his hair falling to the ground like his fallen fortunes. Then, all strength leaving him, he fell to the earth, not in despair, but in worship. And from the depths of his broken heart, he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Though Job's world had been leveled, his spirit, remarkably, had not. In all his loss, he had not sinned or charged God with wrong. The stage was set for a second, more intimate test. Once again, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, Satan, came with them. "Have you considered my servant Job?" the Lord asked again. "He still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason." Satan, undeterred, stepped forward, skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. But now, stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. The challenge was laid, a direct assault on the very fiber of Job's being. His greatness was forgotten, his honor turned to dust. Job, the titan of the East, was cast out, a pariah. He went to the city dump, a place of ash and refuse, and there he sat. His only companion was a piece of broken pottery, which he used to scrape the torment from his skin, a futile gesture against an overwhelming tide of pain. His wife, who had lost her children and her home, finally reached her breaking point. Seeing her husband in such a state, She came to him, her voice a ragged cry of despair. Are you still holding on to your integrity? Look at you, curse God, and die. End this suffering. Job slowly lifted his heavy head, his eyes clouded with pain but clear with conviction. He looked at his broken wife and replied, his voice raspy, You speak as a foolish woman speaks. Shall we accept good from God and not accept trouble? In all this, in this profound and personal agony, Job did not sin in what he said. News of Job's calamities traveled across the desert. 3 of his friends, men of wisdom and stature, heard of his plight and made a pact to go and comfort him. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite began their journey. When they saw Job from a distance, they did not recognize him. The figure hunched in the ashes was so gaunt, so ravaged, it could not be their friend. When they finally realized it was him, a wave of horror washed over them. They began to weep aloud, tearing their robes and sprinkling dust on their heads in the ancient rite of mourning. They approached the silent, suffering figure and, without a word, sat on the ground with him. For 7 days and 7 nights, they sat in perfect silence. They simply sat, for they saw that his suffering was too great for words. The air was thick with unspoken grief, a silent vigil that would soon give way to a storm of argument and accusation. He for only his prayer would be accepted. Then, the Lord's restoration began. Job's health returned. Find